I always thought my parents were on my side. I mean, they were loving, doting, the kind who cheered at every little achievement. But I learned, the hard way, that sometimes love has a very strange way of showing itself. My sister, Rita, was ambitious. Too ambitious. And my parents? They seemed to love her ambition more than me. It all started on a Saturday morning when I was scrolling through social media and saw it, a professional-looking page for a new meal business, with my name plastered at the top. My heart froze. I blinked at the screen, hoping my tired eyes were playing tricks on me. But no, there was in bold letters, Chef Amon's Culinary Delights, and that was me. My name, my face on the banner. My recipes, used without my permission. I stormed into the kitchen where my parents were sipping tea like nothing had happened. "Mom, Dad, what the hell is this?" I demanded, holding up my phone. My mom's eyes widened, but there was no guilt, only a practiced calm. "Oh, that's Ryda's new project," she said casually, as if she'd just mentioned the weather. What do you mean? It's my name. My recipes. You can't." "Don't overreact, Amon," my dad interrupted, waving a hand. "It's for the family. Think of it as helping Ryda succeed. You have skills, yes, but she needed a little push. We're just giving her a head start." I froze. A head start? Using me? My integrity? My hard work? Helping her? By stealing my identity? By using me? My voice cracked. "Oh, don't be dramatic," my mom said. "We're just being practical. Everyone does it. Business is tough. You know how it is." Practical. That word made my blood boil. They had literally helped her fake a business using me, and they expected me to just nod and be okay with it? I left the house, my mind racing. I couldn't believe the betrayal. The worst part wasn't even Ryda. I had suspected her. It was my parents. My own parents. The people I trusted the most. Over the next few days, I watched helplessly as the business page exploded with attention. People were praising me for incredible meals, sharing posts, tagging me. Every comment was like a knife twisting deeper. I reached out to some friends, tried to explain. This isn't me. It's Ryda. My parents are helping her. Half of them didn't believe me. The other half warned me be careful. Family drama can get ugly, they said. I couldn't let it slide. I thought about confronting Ryda directly, but she was clever. Every time I tried, she smiled, acted innocent, and twisted my words. "You're overthinking, Amon," she'd say. "Just relax. We're all family." But I knew better. Then came the news that made my stomach drop. An annual culinary expo was coming to town. This wasn't some local gathering. It was big. Inspectors, business officials, media coverage. And Ryda's fake business was registered to appear there, using my credentials, my recipes, and my reputation. I felt my fists clench. I had two choices. Stay silent, let my name be used, and watch her succeed at my expense, or take matters into my own hands. I chose the latter. The first step was gathering proof. I started with screenshots of social media posts, emails where my parents forwarded me Ryda's business plans, and digital copies of the fake business registration. I needed everything in one place. I even contacted a few friends who worked in culinary media to confirm that these posts were completely fraudulent. As I compiled the evidence, a plan began to form. I didn't want to just accuse them. I wanted them caught publicly. I wanted the world to see the truth. But I had to be careful. Ryda was cunning. My parents, though less sharp, were protective. Any direct confrontation could blow my cover, and I'd lose the only chance to expose them in front of the Expo inspector. Days passed, and the Expo drew nearer. My heart pounded every time I saw Ryda posting more about her upcoming event, praising her own dedication, as if she had built the business from scratch. My parents shared on their pages too, adding congratulatory comments. One evening, I overheard a conversation that made me realize just how deep this went. My mom and dad were talking in hushed tones in the living room. "She's too suspicious," my mom whispered. "We need to make sure Amon doesn't ruin everything." My dad's voice was low but firm. "Don't worry. We'll handle him." Just let Rida get the credit she deserves. It's for the family. For the first time in my life, I felt a cold, burning rage. Not just at Rida, not just at my parents, but at the system that allowed them to manipulate me so easily. I sat in my room that night, staring at my laptop, thinking I needed a strategy, something foolproof. And then it hit me. The Expo inspector, this person had authority, legitimacy, and access to every detail. If I could guide them to the truth, there would be no escaping the consequences. But I couldn't just show up and say, my sister is a fraud. That would make me look biased, emotional, and possibly powerless. No, I had to be subtle, invisible, untouchable. I had to let the evidence speak for itself. The night before the Expo, I stayed up reviewing every post, every email, every receipt. I made a small folder labeled for inspector only and arranged all proofs in a clear, chronological order. Fake invoices next to screenshots of my original recipes. Social media comments next to messages from friends verifying the fraud. Every detail mattered. I knew that once the inspector saw it, there would be no going back. The truth would come out. My sister would be exposed. My parents humiliated. And yet, I couldn't deny a small part of me felt relief at finally seeing justice in motion. Little did I know, the Expo would be the beginning of a chaos I couldn't even imagine. A chaos that would change my family, my sister, and me forever. And that's where the story takes a turn. The next day at the Expo, I would face my sister, my parents, and the inspector, and what happened would shock everyone. The day of the Expo arrived, and the air buzzed with excitement. Stalls lined the hall, each decked out in colorful banners, mouth-watering food displays, and eager entrepreneurs ready to impress the inspectors and the public. I walked in quietly, wearing a neutral expression, blending in with the crowd. My heart thumped so loudly I was sure my sister could hear from across the room. And there she was, Rida, standing proudly behind a stall decorated with my name. She wore her usual smug smile, handing out samples and greeting people as if she had earned every bit of attention. My parents hovered nearby, whispering to each other, their faces glowing with pride. I felt bile rise in my throat. I took a deep breath and approached a nearby inspector, a middle-aged man with sharp eyes and a clipboard. "Excuse me," I said, trying to sound casual. "I have some documents you might want to see regarding one of the participants here. It's about business registrations and recipes." The inspector looked intrigued. "Go on," he said, raising an eyebrow. I handed him a neatly organized folder, pretending it was just a helpful tip from a concerned attendee. "All of this is verifiable," I added. I thought it might be important before judging the stall. He skimmed through the papers, his expression growing serious. "Interesting, very interesting," he muttered. I could tell he was piecing things together. Meanwhile, Rida spotted me. Her smug smile faltered, replaced with a flash of panic. "Aman, what are you doing here?" she asked, trying to sound casual, but her voice trembled slightly. "I'm just checking out the Expo," I replied, my tone light but cold. "It's great to see how much effort everyone's put into their stalls." She glanced at my parents, who were still standing nearby, oblivious. Then she muttered under her breath, "You're ruining everything." I smiled inwardly. Just as I had planned, the tension was building. As the inspector examined the documents more closely, he started asking me questions. Who actually created these recipes? I told him truthfully, careful not to reveal my emotions. I did. My sister has been using my name and recipes without permission. These receipts and posts show the timeline. He nodded, jotting down notes. "I see, and the business registration?" I handed him the copies. Falsified. Filed under my name, but managed entirely by my sister and parents. At that moment, my parents walked over, sensing the sudden seriousness. "What's going on here?" my dad asked, tried to keep his tone casual, but his eyes darted nervously toward the inspector. I stayed calm. "Inspector, I just thought you should have the truth before making any decisions." Ryder's face went pale. She started stammering, "Aman, that's not, you're overreacting." "Mom, Dad, he's lying." But the inspector's sharp gaze didn't waver. He compared my evidence with the registration forms, receipts, and social media posts. Every falsified document, every stolen recipe, every misleading post lined up perfectly with my claims. You know, the inspector said, his tone neutral but firm, fraud is serious. We can't overlook falsified registrations and false claims. This will lead to penalties, fines, or even legal action. My parents' confident smiles began to crack. My mom's hands trembled slightly as she clutched her purse. My dad tried to interject, but the inspector held up a hand. Ryda's panic grew visibly. She tried to play it off. It's just a misunderstanding. We didn't mean any harm. I shook my head slowly. Intent doesn't erase the evidence. By now, a small crowd had gathered, curious about the unfolding drama. Whispers floated through the hall. Is that really his sister? Did she steal his recipes? What's happening with her parents? Ryda's cheeks flushed crimson. You can't do this, Amon. Everyone will think I'm a fraud. The inspector didn't respond immediately. Instead, he continued to scrutinize the documents, comparing timestamps, messages, and receipts. Every piece of evidence I had collected had the weight of truth. And then, the moment of reckoning arrived. He looked directly at my sister. Ms. Ryda, can you explain why all these documents are falsified? Why is this business registered under someone else's name? Her voice shook. I just wanted to succeed. I didn't think. You committed fraud, he said firmly, and your parents knowingly allowed it. A hush fell over the crowd. My parents' faces turned red, their usual composure shattered. My dad opened his mouth, then closed it, unsure what to say. My mom's lips quivered. Ryda's eyes filled with tears, but it wasn't remorse, it was fear. This isn't fair, she yelled. Amon lied. He's trying to ruin me. I stepped closer, my voice calm but resolute. No, Ryda, I showed the truth. Your lies ruined my reputation. I just made sure the truth came out. The inspector nodded, satisfied. We'll need to report this officially. This business cannot participate, and the documents will be flagged for further investigation. The crowd murmured in shock. Some whispered congratulations to me. Others looked at my parents and sister in disbelief. And then, as the inspector started taking copies of the evidence, Ryda did something that made my stomach twist. She turned to my parents and screamed, You helped him do this. You ruined me. My parents flinched. The facade of family unity shattered completely. We were just trying to help, my mom stammered, unable to maintain her usual calm. The inspector shook his head. Intentions don't matter when laws and ethics are broken. Everyone will face consequences. It was over, or so I thought. My sister slumped against her stall, crying, humiliated. My parents looked like statues, frozen in shock. The inspector moved on to other stalls, leaving the chaos behind. I felt a strange mix of satisfaction and emptiness. Revenge had worked, publicly, undeniably, but it wasn't the sweet victory I imagined. There was a lingering ache in my chest. As I turned to leave, I overheard a conversation between two Expo attendees. Did you see that? She actually copied one of his original recipes, and it won a small award. My heart skipped a beat. Wait, what? Ryda had used one of my real recipes in the chaos, and somehow it was recognized as exceptional. Even in her fraud, my talent had shone through. And that's when I realized the final twist. Revenge had worked, but my real success wasn't humiliating my sister. It was in my skill, my passion, and my integrity. Just as I thought the drama was over, a final revelation about my sister's copied recipe and its recognition would change everything, forcing me to confront my feelings about family, talent, and true victory. After the expo, the city felt different. Even the streets seemed quieter, like everyone knew the truth about my family now. My phone blew up with messages, some from friends praising me, others from distant relatives gossiping about the scandal. But the notifications barely mattered. I was still processing the chaos, the betrayal, and the small, ironic victory that came with it. At home, things were tense. My parents avoided eye contact, moving around the house silently, like criminals caught in the act. Ryda stayed in her room, her door closed, muffled sobs seeping through the walls. I didn't know whether to feel triumph or sorrow. The family I loved, the people I trusted, had shown their true colors. I sat in my room, thinking about the expo, replaying every moment. The inspector's stern gaze, Ryder's panic face, my parents' shock. It was all etched into my memory. And then the thought hit me like a hammer. Even in her deceit, Ryder had taken one of my original recipes and won a minor award for it. At first, I felt anger again. She's still riding my talent. I muttered, clenching my fists, but then a strange sense of pride emerged. My skill was undeniable. It couldn't be faked or stolen completely. Even through her lies, the truth of my ability shone through. The next morning, my parents tried to approach me. My mom's voice trembled. Amon, we just wanted to help Ryder. We didn't think it would get this out of hand. I looked at her, my expression hard. Help? You used me. You used my name, my reputation, my work. You made me the villain in my own story. My dad tried to defend himself. She's our daughter. We had to give her a chance to succeed. You gave her a chance by stealing from me, I said sharply. By lying to everyone, including yourself. That's not helping. It's ruining lives. Ryder eventually came out of her room, her face pale and defeated. Amon, I didn't mean to hurt you, she said quietly, eyes brimming with tears. I shook my head. Didn't mean to hurt me? You took my name, my work, my integrity. That's not meaning to hurt me. That's full-on betrayal. She flinched at the word. I was desperate. Everyone kept comparing me to you, saying I'd never succeed. I thought I could win if I used your name. Win? I scoffed. You call this winning? You almost destroyed our family's trust and your own credibility. Do you know how it feels to watch your parents support someone else's lies over your honesty? My parents remained silent, shame evident on their faces. For once, I didn't have to yell or argue. The weight of their guilt spoke louder than words. I took a deep breath. You know, there's a lesson here, even if it's painful. You can fake appearances, manipulate situations, and steal ideas, but you can't fake talent, integrity, or respect. Those are earned. Ryder's head hung low, and I saw a flicker of understanding, maybe even regret. My parents avoided my gaze, finally realizing that their attempts to help had caused more damage than they ever imagined. Over the next few weeks, the aftermath played out like a storm. Ryder's fake business was shut down officially, the documents flagged by the Expo inspector, and my parents faced quiet social scrutiny. Friends and colleagues who once admired my family now whispered behind their backs, and invitations I hadn't received before now poured in. From me, not Ryder. It was strange, seeing life continue, knowing that truth had won, yet feeling hollow. Revenge had worked, but the victory felt different than I imagined. I didn't feel powerful. I felt cautious, aware that trust, once broken, can never fully be restored. Then came the email that changed everything. It was from the Culinary Expo Committee. Congratulations, Mr. Amon. One of the recipes submitted under your name, which was mistakenly attributed to another participant, has been recognized for its originality and taste. We would like to invite you to showcase it at our next national event. My jaw dropped. The same recipe Ryder had used fraudulently had been recognized officially. My skill, my creativity, my effort. It was finally acknowledged without deceit or manipulation. I stared at the email, a mixture of disbelief and relief flooding me. All the anger, all the humiliation, all the betrayal. It led to this moment, a moment where my real talent, untainted and undeniable, shone through. And yet, there was one last shock waiting for me. That evening, Ryder came to my room, hesitant but determined. Amon, I know I ruined things. I know I betrayed you. But can we still be siblings? I want to learn from you, not use you anymore. I studied her carefully, my heart torn. Part of me wanted to scream. Too late? Another part of me wanted to teach her, guide her, and see if she could truly change. I finally said, Ryder, you've hurt me and you've lost trust. But talent isn't owned by deception. If you really want to learn, you have to start from scratch, honestly. No shortcuts. No lies. Only then will you earn respect, and maybe, just maybe, forgiveness. Her eyes welled up, and she nodded slowly. I understand. I'll do it your way this time. Even my parents seemed humbled now, realizing that pushing Ryder towards shortcuts and fraud had been a terrible mistake. They stayed silent, letting their actions speak louder than words. I sat back, reflecting. Revenge had been sweet, public, and undeniable. But the real victory wasn't in humiliating Ryder or my parents. It was in proving, to myself and everyone else, that my talent and integrity couldn't be stolen or faked. Little did I know, the final twist was still waiting. The minor award my sister had accidentally won for my recipe came with a surprise invitation to a national culinary TV competition. A stage bigger than anything I had imagined. My story, my revenge, my talent. It was about to reach an audience far beyond my family's drama. And that's when I realized sometimes revenge isn't just about punishment. It's about proving your worth, showing your true self, and reclaiming what's yours. The national TV competition invitation meant I had a chance to shine, but also threatened to expose deeper family secrets and force me to face my sister in a completely new way. The invitation to the national culinary TV competition arrived like a thunderclap. My heart raced as I read the email again and again, making sure I hadn't imagined it. The competition promised exposure, recognition, and a chance to finally showcase my talent on a massive platform. But there was one problem. Ryder. The email clearly mentioned that participants would submit their original recipes, and the organizers were planning a live segment where finalist families could be present. I realized immediately that my family, parents and sister, would be there, the same people who had betrayed me, manipulated me, and tried to ride on my reputation. I sat in my room, staring at the invitation, feeling a storm of emotions: excitement, anxiety, anger, determination. This was my chance, not for revenge, but to finally shine honestly, where lies and deceit couldn't touch me. The weeks leading up to the competition were grueling. I practiced tirelessly, perfecting my recipe, experimenting with flavors, presentation, and timing. Every step was under my strict control. I wanted to ensure that nothing could go wrong. Not like the Expo disaster, where my family's manipulation nearly cost me my reputation. The day of the competition arrived, and I entered the studio with a calm, focused expression. Cameras flashed, contestants hustled, and the smell of spices, sugar, and baked goods filled the air. I saw the judges at their table, intimidating yet professional, and my nerves sharpened. Then, out of the corner of my eye, I saw them, my parents and Ryder, sitting together whispering. Their faces were a mix of pride and guilt, tension and curiosity. My mother's eyes flicked toward me, but she didn't dare approach. My father avoided all eye contact. And Ryder, her gaze locked with mine, and I could see a mix of fear, resentment, and a desperate hope that maybe I would forgive her publicly. I took a deep breath, centered myself. I didn't need forgiveness. I didn't need approval. I just needed to prove what I was capable of, honestly, without shortcuts. The judges called the participants forward one by one. When it was my turn, I carefully presented my dish. Every ingredient, every garnish, every layer of flavor reflected my years of practice and my dedication. The camera zoomed in, capturing my hands as they worked, my expression as I explained the recipe's inspiration. After the presentation, the judges tasted. Their faces remained neutral, professional. Yet I caught a flicker of surprise, an acknowledgement of talent they hadn't expected. One judge nodded, whispering to the others, "This is exceptional." I glanced at my family. Ryder's jaw dropped. My parents' faces twisted in disbelief. I smiled faintly. This wasn't revenge. They didn't need to be humiliated further. My skill was speaking for itself. But then came the twist I hadn't anticipated. During the live broadcast, a fellow contestant recognized the recipe I submitted. It was remarkably similar to one showcased online by a popular chef blog. The camera crew quickly showed clips from the Expo. And there it was, Ryder's fake business stall, using my name, my recipe, and my hard work. The studio fell silent for a moment, the audience whispering, cameras capturing the shocked reactions of my parents and sister. The judges turned to me, waiting for my explanation. I calmly stated the truth. Yes, that recipe was mine. It was used without my permission by my sister and my parents. They attempted to present it as their own work at the Expo. The studio gasped. My sister's face went pale. My parents' expressions crumbled entirely. The judges consulted each other and made a decision. I would continue the competition as an official participant, my work recognized, while my sister and parents faced public exposure for their previous fraud. Cameras captured their reactions for live broadcast. The humiliation was unavoidable, and I knew that. Even in that moment, though, I felt no gloating satisfaction. This wasn't about revenge anymore. It was about reclaiming what was mine and proving, beyond doubt, that talent, honesty, and hard work matter more than lies. After my segment, the host approached me. Mr. Amon, your dedication is impressive. How does it feel to have your work recognized in spite of what happened at the Expo? I took a deep breath. It feels validating. I've learned that skill and integrity can't be stolen. What others do to manipulate, cheat, or lie won't overshadow genuine effort. That's what matters most. Meanwhile, my sister and parents were escorted out for questioning by the competition organizers. The cameras caught every moment. My parents' faces red, Ryder in tears, whispering apologies that no one could hear over the live broadcast. I stepped back, watching the chaos unfold. And then, unexpectedly, Ryder appeared at the edge of the stage after being allowed a brief word with me. Amon, I'm sorry. Truly, I want to succeed, but I see now that I can't cheat my way. Can you ever forgive me? I looked at her carefully. Forgiveness isn't about letting you off the hook. It's about learning. You've seen the consequences. You know what honesty means now. If you truly commit to that, then maybe one day, trust can start to rebuild, but only if you prove it through actions, not words. Her lips trembled, but she nodded. My parents remained silent, shame evident in every gesture. For once, there were no excuses, no justifications, only the stark reality of actions and consequences. By the end of the day, I had advanced to the final round. The cameras followed me, capturing my quiet determination, my focus on the dish, and my refusal to let past betrayals define me. And deep down, I realized the ultimate victory wasn't the competition itself. It was knowing that my talent, integrity, and hard work had outshined lies, manipulation, and deceit on a national stage. And yet, as I prepared to the finals, a sudden email notification made me pause. It was from the competition producers. Mr. Amon, a confidential tip has come to our attention. Some of your family members may attempt further interference or claims regarding your recipes. Please be advised. I felt a chill run down my spine. The story wasn't over. There was one last twist waiting, one that would test not just my talent, but my patience, composure, and ability to navigate betrayal under the public eye. The final twist was about to strike. My sister and parents weren't done yet, and the live audience, cameras, and judges would witness the climax of our family drama in a way no one could predict. The final round of the competition was tense. The studio lights glared down on me. The cameras rolled, and the audience murmured in anticipation. Every contestant was nervous, but I felt a calm focus. This wasn't just about winning the competition. It was about reclaiming my reputation, my integrity, and my life from the chaos my family had caused. As I set up my station, I noticed a familiar face lingering near the backstage. Ryder. She wasn't participating in the final, but she was watching, her expression a mix of guilt and envy. My parent hovered nearby, anxious, unsure how to act, clearly still wrestling with the public consequences of their previous decisions. The judges gave the signal to begin. I worked swiftly, carefully, presenting my dish with precision and passion. Every slice, every garnish, every aroma was a testament to my years of dedication. Cameras followed my hands, my expressions, my explanation of the recipe's inspiration and technique. I felt a surge of pride, knowing that this was entirely mine, untouched by lies, untouched by deception. Halfway through, the unexpected happened. The producers received a live tip that Ryder had secretly prepared a dish at the back, attempting to mimic one of my other recipes to claim credit again. Security quickly intervened, and the studio erupted in whispers. My parents' faces drained of color. The audience gasped and the judges raised eyebrows. I didn't react outwardly. I didn't need to. The evidence of their continued deceit spoke louder than anything I could say. The producers handled it discreetly, ensuring that my performance remained uninterrupted. And in that moment, I realized the ultimate revenge had already taken shape. Not through confrontation or anger, but through undeniable talent and truth. By the time I presented the final dish, the judges were visibly impressed. One commented, "Your flavors, presentation, and originality are exceptional. It's clear that this is authentic work, done by someone who understands culinary craft." I smiled faintly, knowing that everything, my parents' betrayal, Ryder's manipulation, the Expo fiasco, had led me here. The camera zoomed in as I played at the final touch. The audience clapped, the judges nodded in approval, and the producers made an announcement. I had won the national competition. Ryder and my parents stood silently in the background, the weight of their actions settling on them fully. No words, no excuses, no pleading. Just the stark reality of consequences. After the ceremony, the host asked me to speak. I addressed the audience directly. This victory isn't just about winning a competition. It's about integrity, honesty, and hard work. You can't fake talent, and you can't steal respect. What others do to manipulate or deceive may temporarily distract, but the truth always shines through. The audience erupted in applause. I felt a surge of validation, not just for my skill, but for enduring betrayal, for standing firm, and for proving that truth and talent always prevail. Later, as the camera stopped rolling and the crowd dispersed, my sister approached me one last time. "Aman, I see now what I did was wrong. I won't ever try to steal from you again. Can we be a family?" I studied her carefully, weighing my words. Family isn't just about blood. It's about respect, honesty, and trust. You've broken that, and trust takes time to rebuild. But you can start by being honest, by working hard, and by earning respect the right way. Then maybe, slowly, family can be something real again. She nodded, tears in her eyes. My parents hung their heads, silent, fully aware of the lesson they had learned the hardest way. I stepped outside into the cool evening air, reflecting on the journey. Revenge had been satisfying, yes, but the real victory was more profound. Reclaiming my name, proving my talent, and standing by my integrity. The betrayal had been bitter, but it had made the triumph sweeter and the lessons clearer. And the final twist lingered in my mind. The same recipe Ryder had tried to steal and claim for herself had not only won recognition, but had opened doors I had never imagined. My skill, my passion, my dedication, they couldn't be taken from me. If I were in this situation, here's what I would have done. I would have stayed calm, gathered undeniable evidence, and let the truth speak for itself. Personal attacks and anger might feel satisfying, but only integrity and talent can secure long-term respect and victory. This story isn't just about revenge. It's about reclaiming what's yours, proving your worth, and showing that honesty and hard work always outshine deceit and betrayal. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.